India can be largest user case as far as the foundation level is concerned. Probably we have missed the bus. How do you view that?
I strongly deny this statement for the primary reason that AI today, even when we see large-scale deployment, it is basically at a very cursory level of usage. If somebody says that they have developed the complete foundation that is needed for AI, I think that itself is a very big statement, which is far from truth according to me. Today, what we have seen, we had one of the biggest changes that happened in earlier times, the late 90s, where when AI, Blue Gene actually bet Kasparov in the chess, and people started saying that AI can be as intelligent as human, but that's a wrong term, right? It is as intelligent as human, probably in playing chess. Kasparov did a very beautiful book, Deep Thinking. I think all audience should basically read that book, where he said that he entered a room, subsequently he entered a room where there were 50 machines, and he played against each of these machines by just walking around that room. Then he said, can I do the vice versa? I put 50 Kasparovs, can a robot do this? Then the problems become very large. Just as a matter of point, right? Kasparov's brain would have been a size of a hand, and maximum could have been taking some watts of power, while the computer that bet him was almost half the size of this room, consuming almost a megawatt, couple of power stations to power it. So that's the power of the human brain. So nobody has understood. So what people thought as AI during those days, after this thing happened, they said AI is more than that. Probably the biggest revolution came with ChatGPT today, where they opened up and they are now in a position to have conversational guidance to this.
Yeah.
But then there are a lot more for them to learn. And I think the foundation models are yet to be built. And what I strongly believe is in Tamil we say there are 64 kalai. There are 64 art forms. One cannot be jack of all these 64 art forms. You can be specialized in one or two. And if you are specialized in three, they call you a genius. Now we are looking at this domain-specific foundation models. And each domain will have its own connotations. I think India has a lot more to do and achieve in the foundation bus.
Okay. So that India would be the largest user case is what Nanda Nilikani had said. But if I were to ask you, what are the most exciting AI efforts being made in the country?
Yes. So AI is becoming very domain specific. The model that I want for agriculture can be significantly different from the model that I want for, say, advanced manufacturing, for example, the two ends of the spectrum, agriculture and industrialization. Today, from a government point of view, there's a national AI mission. Now, there are specific center of excellences that are being developed. The initial thrust actually comes from government. We have an AI center of excellence done by the Ministry of Education for health, for agriculture, and for smart cities, and for education. And these four are the areas where AI is actually started to make a big difference. I can give you one or two examples to just say where.
Yeah.
For today, in the area of health, I cannot replace a doctor because the type of AI models that we are using are not still mature enough to explain why things are happening. Suppose you go to a doctor and you go for a treatment, the treatment is not working, you ask the doctor for an explanation, and the doctor is duty bound to explain you why it's not happening. Now, this is what is expected from a doctor, so if the AI is going to replace a doctor, then we need this type of an explanation. So the explanation part of AI is still maturing. It's not come to any stage. But AI today can be a very good co-pilot. For example, I just went for a medical test. I have 272 parameters that have been monitored. Now give this report with 272 parameters, and for a general physician to quickly go through this, AI can point out, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, so that it can aid in the decision making. This is what we call as co-pilot. So in the case of cancer today, identifying some very interesting cancer symptoms, early prediction from blood reports and other type of other reports for an incidence of a disease, probably working towards what we call as a disease network, right? Because one disease can be cause of another disease, and you keep treating the other without actually come to the root cause. So these are some of the very interesting things that AI can give. At the same time, on the education side, of course, language is becoming a very big barrier for us. And today we have multiple translation efforts that are happening. Suppose you understand only Hindi and I understand only Tamil. I can talk in Tamil, you listen in Hindi, you respond in Hindi, I can listen back in Tamil. So a Tamil-Hindi conversation can happen very seamlessly. And there are very good efforts that are in place. So these are two examples, but many exciting examples exist.
Yeah. For translations, you have AI for Bharat, your lab. And they have worked, and they have around 78 crore sentences that they have got. But still the translations, particularly I'm told in Tamil, are not really adequate. Are you worried about it? Do you think it will improve? Is reliability one of the challenges for AI?
Yeah. AI is like a child, right? So when you are born, you don't talk English, and you all shout kua kua and only, but then only you slowly learn the language. So AI is also learning the language like that. And the accuracy has become, accuracy was say 40-50% at some point of time when we started the Bhashini AI for Bharat and all these joint efforts that IIT Madras took. It's a multi-institutional effort. But today what has happened over a period of time, we are now seeing the accuracy improving. We are now very close to 90 to 95% accuracy in the translation process. But let me also tell you what's the challenge in this translation. So I was actually part of the JEE team, the joint entrance exam team, when we said first time we said a Hindi question paper, the English question paper, and Hindi version also for Hindi medium students. When we said a Hindi question paper, that time that team which set the question paper did a very faithful translation. So for velocity in Hindi, there will be some word, right? I don't know what it is. And when we gave the Hindi question paper to the kids, they said, sir, please give me the English question paper. Because that was more understandable to them than the pure translated Hindi. Yeah. So what we need is this colloquial translation, where some of the words need to be retained, everything cannot be substituted. So scientific content also needs, many contents need this colloquial conversation. I think we are doing very much well. I have some very interesting examples where our classes are being taught in English, and it is immediately translated to 11 different languages and made available to the students. Right? So we are certainly in the 90 to 95% era, but the remaining 5% even human makes me. If you just record this speech and you just look at tight grammar of English, I think I would have made 5% error. Okay, so.
Do you agree that what AI needs is trust? Because with trust, there would be adoption. If there is adoption, there would be feedback, and with feedback, you can improve the system.
Absolutely. So the entire AI works on that, right? The whole thing is about feedback and relearning. The entire concept of deep learning, though we say it's a supervised learning where we train, see, AI is like a child, we train it with a lot of data, and then it starts answering based on the data it has learned. If you give it good data, it will give you good answers. If you give bad data, you give it bad answers, okay? Now, the whole point is that when it goes on the interpretation, it is bound to do errors, and the feedback mechanism is one which will make it more and more accurate. Accuracy is different from trust. trust essentially is that this model gives me an answer, how much I can rely on that answer, right? And it can be accurate based on the data it has, but how much trust I can have. So that gives us a little more bigger, social framework. Like if I have an India-specific model, I ask that model some questions. It should give me an answer that is what reflects the true nature of that answer, right? So it cannot give some arbitrary answer. For example, if I go and ask where is Arunachal Pradesh, I expect the model to give it is in India, correct? Because that's our country's field. So we need a sort of something like a sensor board, which basically says this is the data that should be fed in. This is not the data. So these models need to be protected so that they don't learn wrong things. So that is where first that notion of trust comes. Then comes also a responsibility. Responsibility comes with another concept what we call as explainability. So I make a decision, I should explain why I made the decision. And that's where the responsibility comes. So we are working very seriously on responsible AI. And for any critical job, other than basically, some predictions that we do, really life-critical jobs, life-threatening type of activities for which we need AI to solve that problem, specifically health, etc. I think responsible, explainable, and trusted AI is important.
So you think if we go back to translations, 90 to 95% is okay, or would you still look for 100%? Because there are people who may find one word translated wrongly and the meaning would be
absolutely. Absolutely. And it can lead to some problems also. For example, there was a case of some audit, it is reported in some journal, where the audit actually had a bias towards some class of people, and then actually the entire system collapsed. So this must be very, very, very carefully addressed. And especially it is better to say, I don't know the translation rather than translating into some wrong words. And that's very, very important. And that is where this, what you call as the responsible AI comes in. This 90 to 95% accuracy is something which is manageable today because we are able to run the systems with that. It's not too hayward, and we achieve the purpose. So my grammar, actually, again I repeat, if you record this speech and find out how many grammatical errors I have, it will surely be probably even more than 10%. Okay? But hopefully all of them, they are not moving out of the hall. Hopefully they are understanding what I'm saying here. So that's the spirit.
One of the areas where AI can really help is land records.
Huh?
Land records.
Land records.
I mean, if you see a state like Bihar, the largest number of cases are land disputes. 45% of deaths, violent deaths, are because of land disputes. Do you think AI can help in that? What is AI doing something about it?
Actually, more than AI, I think land records, the digitization of land record and geo-marking of land records actually will make a much, much more, robust land record maintenance system. I don't know where AI can really play a role there, but surely today, geotagging of the land. For example, I give a loan to I'm a banker. Assume I'm a banker and I'm giving a loan to someone, and he's actually putting a property, a large property. So now you just said, today you are just marking saying this address, right? So in that address, I retain the front part and I sell the back part. Right? So, and another survey number, then I'm gone, right? So somewhere we should have a geotag of all these, of the locality, so that I know that this geofencing is my land for which I have given the loan, for which he has given me as a, collateral. So these type of digital technology and large-scale data storage, maintenance and retrieval will basically help us in trying to maintain sanctity about land records. And so I think that's the next step that we need to do. AI can play a role in terms of saying that you take a lot of images of that land on a daily basis, and you can basically see what is happening there. Is somebody coming and, coming into that land, they are illegally occupying, or so these type of things can be monitored, and probably that can be a very good way by which AI can help by image processing and comparing it with previous data and really predicting some activity that's happening, mapping on that activity to some approvals. Some building is happening there. Does it have a, say in Chennai, we have the CMDA. Does it have a CMDA approval? Oh, this geotag is not having it. So what is that activity? So these type of things can be launched.
Yeah. One of the largest employment programs for the government is the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme.
Yeah. National?
So in that, Nandarega.
Yeah.
So in that, do you think AI can help? Because a lot of people are denied their wages because the photograph doesn't match, the thumb impressions don't match. Do you think AI can play a role there?
Yes, absolutely. So today, identity can be much more robustly done with AI. Of course, there is a trust parameter and a responsibility parameter that's coming up. As we see, the Aadhaar systems, when we enrolled, say for example, 10 years to 15 years before when we enrolled, the type of biometric systems were there, which captured and that were stored. And what we see today, there's a major improvement. So AI is actually playing a very good role in face recognition, in any of your biometric recognition. And I think once that ID part, identification part is addressed, I think we are really going to make a bigger effect. We basically can say that yes, this particular work is assigned to this particular person and the money is paid to this particular person. These two are very important in America. What you assign to a particular person, whether that money has reached that particular person, and if that person is receiving it, etc. So, and whether that person worked or not. So all these things could be, biometry will play an important role, and I'm sure it's going to be, AI can play a very important role in that identification part. Yes.
So, Professor Kamakoti, when India had the first ever election, there were 106 million voters. Now, in the last election, there are 642 million voters. There's all this political noise about SIR. Pictures don't match, wrong addresses, people who are there, there's duplication, large number of duplication. You think AI can help in that? Is AI doing something
and
about
more importantly, blockchain can help and always today one point of time. So today, when we actually see last election as a responsibility of a learned community, telling all my boys that you must vote this time. Let us say 100% of all people associated with IIT Madras vote. We should set an example. No.
Did you tell them who to vote?
Huh?
Did you also tell them who to vote?
No, we shouldn't tell, and we never tell. Okay, but then at that point of time, many kids actually told, see, they have come from some far-off places. Their voting is in say some, and for them to go back and come, it'll be another 7-8 days, and they have some conference deadlines and other things. So at least 20-30% of the kids did not go and vote because it's far off, they couldn't. So I think vote from anywhere is something which we should see with proper authentication, identification. I think if biometry works very nicely and there is a biometry-based voter database clear, and anybody can log in with their biometry on a system, on a portal, and they can be routed to their respective constituency on the election day, and they can cast a vote online, right? And we should have blockchain to basically prove that this is the person and this is the vote he has done. So that, this is the vote that has been casted. Of course, we should maintain the confidentiality, etc. Then I think that will be a very interesting thing. So we did evolve such a system at IIT Madras, and then we did put for our very minimal 3,000 voters for our student election. It did work out. So we actually put the system on a e-cart, and we drove it to multiple hostels and said, you can come in. We gave them a small enclosure. They could come and cast a vote. And it worked out very nicely. So hopefully someday we'll reach that stage so that there can be more participation in the voting process. As a democracy, we need that.
if the election commission approaches you for purification of the voters list, would you be willing to help? Do you think AI can help in that?
As we can give them some models, I think they will have. So basically, we have to look at if it becomes digital, right? If the authentication becomes digital, then AI can play a very important role, right? So where is the digital technology today? Of course, voting is electronic, but for us, identification, if it becomes digital through biometric, then AI can certainly help in a very big way, even in the current setup.
Now, Kumbh Mela, which is UNESCO says that the largest congregation of human beings, and last time there was a stampede, crowd control. Again, AI can help in that?
Yeah, so crowd prediction can be very clearly done. So we could have more sensors. I think one thing about Kumbh Mela, that we had some continent's population itself visited this place within 5 days to 6 days, right? So that's the major thing. So this time itself, a lot of data, a lot of sensors and things have been put in place. But the crowd was actually unprecedented. That's what we see. And we do have another such event happening in South India, in Kumbakonam, in 2028. We have the Mahamaham. And that's also a very big function. So when it comes to this type of large crowd management, there are multiple things. You have multiple sensors that gives you how many buses have passed, how many crowd has. These sensors can be basically electronic counting, or people go just by certain some X-rays or not X-rays, some ultrasound or something. We can actually make some interference which will count the number of people who have entered or gone out, number of buses that have passed, etc. And another thing is to have drone images and basically predict the movement of this. We could also use cell phone tower associations. We will not go and know which number. That's a privacy intrusion. But we can say how many numbers are associated with a particular tower. And that can give you how many people are there approximately. So these type of lot of sensors can be taken, and it was taken. Many of them were done during, I'm sure it would have been done during Kumbh Mela also. And that can basically guide the overall crowd management. And we can have very good AI algorithms which can project or give us some path. Okay, this much crowd has come. So here you put a blockade, so that we can control the crowd. AI can play, surely AI can play a role.
For a lot of people, AI is going to be a big demon. A lot of people who are listening or who are watching this, they will lose their jobs because of AI. Do you feel guilty about it?
No, I've been very vocal about it. AI will not make you lose the job. It will make you more, it will increase your skill set, right? So today, when banks became computerized, people said everybody will lose job. But see, just look at State Bank, the bank for which we should be very proud of. It's the largest bank probably in the world. Number of transactions would be phenomenal. See how many employees were there in 1970s, where the computerized, 1980s, early 80s, where the computerization started. And today you see what's the number of employees. I think it's always to grow. And when cash counting machine came, they said there's no need of a cashier, but cashier was there, and he actually, the cashier learned to count the cash, and the cashiers would have been very happy, because if they count less or more, then if they count less and account it as more, their salary was cut. Now they can very much rely on the counting machine. So I think there are a lot of jobs which the human should not be doing. It doesn't require a human brain to do it, and I think these type of automations helped in the previous Industry 4 segment. I think now we are coming to the Industry 5 segment, where I think AI can help people in a bigger way. The skill set will increase. Those who learned AI will get very good job. Those who have not learned AI will be forced to learn AI.
Okay. So I speak to a lot of people when I do interviews, and I think I'm letting out a secret that you still don't have a passport. Why?
Yeah, this is it's a religious reason for me that I don't cross the sea. So it's but on the looking back, I also am also in a position to tell my kids who ask me for advice, that can you achieve something in India? I said, you can do something, at least you can become an IIT director.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamakoti. Thank you so much for this
Thank you.
enlightening conversation.
Thank you.